So for this part of the series, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm actually coming to you from the top of a mountainside. My kids are actually over here in a playground just on this other side of the camera. So they're up playing some playground that they saw as we were taking the lifts up just at the top of the mountain. So we stopped here for a moment. Behind me, Switzerland, Alps, or not the Alps, Switzerland, I don't know, they're mountains, whatever. The point is I wanted to actually bring you to the perfect example of choosing your why. We're going to go through a lot of things in the course. One of the things is having a really great circle of influence. The purpose of having that really great circle of influence, as should have already been explained to you, is that it will, if the people around you are doing or are all moving in the same direction, it just makes it a lot easier for you to move in the same direction. If the people around you live on an earn and consume lifestyle and they're not interested in saving and investing and building sort of an empire, it'll be really hard for you to fit in and get along with them, because it's just you're doing two completely different things. In the same way, if you have 5 friends and they're all really fit and they all go to the gym every single time, and maybe you're not into the gym, maybe you have 30 or 40 extra pounds or whatever, and you like just to kind of sit and Netflix and chill, well, you're probably not going to get along, and it's probably going to be hard for you to kind of associate with them. On the flip side to that, if you do have a couple extra pounds and you meet some friends that are actually very fit and they're going to the gym all the time, and that's what you want to go into, of course they're going to help you pull you along, because that's what they're going to be into. They're not going to want to go to bad restaurants, go get ice cream, whatever it is. The point is to have a good circle of influence. The second part to that is you need to have an extremely strong why. And your why is, why the heck are you creating generational wealth? You don't want to be the fisherman. If those of you who haven't heard the fisherman story, it is simply this idea that a businessman comes down to a fisherman. The guy's just kind of a mom and pop shop. He goes out, he fishes every once in a while, 4 hours a day, catches some fish, comes back, sells them to the local market. Doesn't really do anything really that over that, just enough to sort of pay for a 6-pack, or grab a drink, pay for his family's living expenses, whatever. He's not trying to pursue anything, build anything great. And the businessman comes to him and he says, hey, you should, you're obviously a great fisherman, you have a great history, you have a great name, you have a great name in the community, you could actually make this, significantly larger. Why wouldn't you, make this great? And he's like, you could, hire a couple of employees, I could invest in your business, we can make a whole fleet of vessels, and, instead you having even go fish, you could actually have other people go fish for you, and you could just sort of run this enterprise. And imagine obviously the big fisheries that are out there. And the fisherman responds to him, he's like, yeah, that's great, that sounds fantastic or whatever, but why would I do that? He's like, well, because you can, eventually over time, you build enough, wealth, enough generational wealth that you can, sit back and, sell it or live off the proceeds and enjoy your life, and, you can go do whatever you want to. And to the fisherman, he says, yeah, that's what I do right now. And so the point is, it's like, you don't want to necessarily give your life to just working and building generational wealth and doing all that, and save and invest. And this is what I hate about some of these guys out there that are like, live frugal for your entire life, and even if you make money, don't ever go buy a nice car, don't ever basically treat yourself, because it's a waste of money. No, the point, guys, of creating generational wealth and being financially stable and having that extra income coming in is to reward yourself and also take care of your family. That's your why. For most people, if I said, hey, what is your why for creating generational wealth, most people are going to say, well, I want to take care of my family. I want to make sure that they're good. I want to make sure I'm good, make sure the family's good, and probably leave them something. It's a very common answer that we get. But you might have other whys, like our why here. We just want to travel the world. Not only do we want to make sure our family's taken care of, but we want to have enough funds and enough money that we can go spend the entire summer in Switzerland and Austria and Germany, and just kind of like we're doing right now, to where we can actually take the kids out of their school and not only put them in private school, but actually take them to, say, Thailand, and let's go spend 6 months over in Thailand living there, experiencing that life, and let's go put the kids in private school over there, in American private school. Actually, they're British, but British private schools, and allow them to do that. Our why is being able to travel. If we had lots of money or we had very little money, Claire and I would spend a tremendous portion of our revenue that we had coming in each month traveling the world. And so we spend a tremendous amount of time doing this. If you check out any of our social media channels, you'll know that we've been all over, basically everywhere. Anytime the kids have a break, whether it be spring break, 4 days, month, we're gone, we're out. And so that makes us do two different things, and we'll get into this later in the course, but one, we have to set up our businesses so that we don't have to be present. So it forces us, kind of like the 4-Hour Work Week if you watch that book, but it forces us to think about processes and systems that allow us to operate the businesses or keep that cash flow coming in through the revenue streams that we have without having to do too much, without having issues with time zone, with being able to travel around the world. So very, very important. And the second thing to that is, it just allows. Not only do we have to think about sort of like how we're going to make money, but we have to think about like how much money do you actually need to do those particular types of things. And so the second thing it makes us do is really start to think about and consider the type of cash flow that we need. If we were to go the traditional method, and again, we'll get into this later in the course, and we put all of our money into items or into assets, 401k, IRA, things like that, that locked up those things that didn't provide us cash flow, what that would mean is it would mean that we just built businesses that were like that, that weren't paying us sort of routinely. What it would mean is that we would be tied to waiting until we either exited a company with a sale or until we made, until it reached 60, 65, and then we could actually live off the fruits of it. One of the ways with the Dave Ramsey method that really actually sucks, that I don't like about it, is that people have to sort of live and frugal and save, invest and save and invest and save and invest. And then at some point, yeah, maybe they retire at 55 and then they go live the rest of their life. It's kind of like the fisherman story I just told you about. The difference is we put our stuff in like dumb businesses and real estate, things like that, that allow us to actually pull cash flow right now, which means that we're not necessarily taking our money and putting into a lump sum that's building a stock market that's then going to be locked up. We're putting the assets that actually pay us now, and with the idea is that we're going to have rental properties until we pass on, and then those will go to our children. Or we're going to have dumb businesses and we'll either sell those and buy other dumb businesses, or we'll build those out larger, or we'll just let those continue to run until we pass, and then those will go down to our children. So the way that we've actually structured things is with the idea of what our why is. If our why wasn't necessarily to travel the world, then we might decide to do other things with the money. But for the sake of needing money right now and wanting to have cash flow while Claire's in her 30s, I'm in my 40s or whatever, while the kids are still young, and needing that cash flow, even if we had a little bit slightly less of a return, we would actually we would pursue still this method, because we would need those funds for what we're trying to do. So, but the point is that it's really, really important also that you choose your why and really know what it is and put it out, like whether it be pictures or something else, and really put it out there, because things are going to get tough, and you're going to get to points where if you're really living frugal and you're really shaving down and you're really not participating, and you're seeing your friends going out and they're doing all these different things, or maybe they're traveling right now and you really want to, and maybe that's your why like us, but you don't, because you're still building, you're in that build sort of phase, you're not in the deployment or taking some of that proceeds stage. You need to understand why you're sacrificing that. So the circle of influence helps you out. Getting people that are a little bit further in the stage helps you out, because they can say, hey, I was right where you are, and look at where I am now, and here's the things I have. So you can see the fruits of that. That was kind of, we covered in our action equals results course or video. But you want to have that circle of influence, and then of course, again, you can see the results, but then they can actually help you along and say, hey, again, I've been there, I've done that, whatever. Just keep in the system, and that kind of can keep you motivated. But it's kind of like this combination of two things. It's that circle of influence that like keeps you on the same track, because you're going to have the outside forces. Even if your circle of influence is just strong or strategic, and you're only living with saving and frugal, you still got all the advertisements. You still got, unless you just turn everything off in the world, all social media off, everyone else that you can contact, unless you turn them all off, you're going to come into it. So you'll need that support system of saying, why am I basically living extremely uncomfortable right now in my 20s while my friends are out there killing it and driving the BMWs? And why am I doing that now? Oh, I'm doing it now because my circle of influence has done it. This is the way they do it. I want to live their life, and my why is similar to their why. And I know if they did it this way and I follow it, I can do it that way. And it's just like that combination. So Very, very important you choose your why. And it's something that isn't just like, I'm going to do this because I want a BMW, or I want to do this because I want to watch. Like, those things are going to come. I'm talking about the larger why. Is it that you want to take care of your family? Is it because you want to go travel the world? Is it that because you want to build a church, or give your money back to some cause or something? Like, why is it that you want to create generational wealth? And I will say to you, if you don't really have a strong reason, and it's just like because I want a Bentley, it might be okay, but you may find yourself going, I don't know if I'm going to sacrifice all this just so I can have a Bentley. May not be good enough. So again, something a little bit different than being in studio. I think this is a great atmosphere. We're traveling all summer anyway, so we're not in the studio anyway doing recording. So I just thought this would be a little bit different. I thought it'd be interesting. Again, this is my why: being able to take care of my family, and more so than that, being able to take them around the world. I don't want my kids to learn about Rome in a book. I want them to learn about Rome in Rome. I want them to learn about Greece and Greece. I want them to learn about Italy, in Italy. I want them to see the Alps. I want them to see the ice caps melting, if that's your thing. I want to take them out into nature, show them how people are growing. I got cows up here in the field and stuff like that. What that means and how is that. I want to show them how to do it. I just don't want them to read it. And that's my wine. That's my. Until the next time.